The Honourable Peter Dunn.
Mr Speaker, there are 60,000 New Zealanders every year for whom we do not do enough. These 60,000 are a diffuse group. They have no clear spokesperson or organisation backing them. Some of them are living in very inadequate housing. Others are subject to all sorts of assault and vile abuse, and yet no one speaks up for them. And it's time we changed our attitude. Now, before the xenophobes and the bigots start to rise to the bait, Mr Speaker, let me say that I am talking about the number of children born in New Zealand each year. 60,000 New Zealanders. And those young New Zealanders have no choice about the circumstances of their birth or the nature of their upbringing. But we owe it to them to provide them with all of the wherewithal to enjoy a fruitful and prosperous life. And sadly, Mr Speaker, as the core of our future, they often get overlooked in the debates that take place in this chamber. And for that reason, I welcome the initiative taken last week by Judge Caroline Henwood and Sir Mark Solomon to launch a covenant for our nation's children. And I want to share with the House a couple of statements from that covenant, because I think they go to the heart of the concern and the focus that we as a Parliament ought to have upon the future of our children. We, the people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, make a solemn and enduring covenant with our nation's children, whoever they are and wherever they may be, in equal measure, those children who are born and those who are born in the future. We as New Zealanders undertake an unconditional duty to do all in our power to ensure that all our children are treasured, respected, and enjoy a good life full of opportunity in a nation that is diverse and rich in culture and araha. Mr Speaker, there can be no more profound statement about the functions that we seek to perform than a commitment to the children as the future of this country. Around 24% of our population is under the age of 18. About 70%, just under 70% of our young people are lucky enough to be brought up in a two-parent household. Just under 20% are raised by a single parent or in other groupings. Mr Speaker, as I said, those children do not choose the circumstances of their birth, but every child has an equal right to access to opportunity in this country. Every child has an equal right to access to quality healthcare and education. Every child has a right to good housing and good prospects in life. And our challenge, and that's what the Covenant recognises, is to focus our efforts afresh on delivering those policies. I'm conscious, Mr Speaker, of the work that my colleague to my left, the Minister for Social Development, is doing in the area to try and bring children to the centre of government policy making, and I applaud that. And I welcome it, but it's a long overdue initiative. But the important point about it is that by focusing on our children, we then start to focus on the nature of our families, our communities, and all of the support and other systems within those communities that enable people to function effectively. So we don't have isolated debates as we do today about housing provision or law and order or migration. They're all connected into a focal point of saying, let's serve the interests of our children because they are our future. And therefore, Mr Speaker, we can put all other policies through the prism of how they affect children. Now, Mr Speaker, I noticed last week when the Covenant was released that there was a rather large measure of silence to greet it. I would have expected, in the quiet of the recess, more passion from politicians who profess concern about our country's future to get in behind this charter because it provides a way forward. What we're seeing around the world now, Mr Speaker, is a reaction to the sort of up-you politics that the Trumpists and their acolytes in this country are seeking to follow. In Britain, under the former Liberal Democrat leader Paddy Ashdown, a more united movement, that's what it's called, has been developed with the express aim of supporting moderate progressive politicians across the political spectrum to stamp out extremism and focus on the real issues. Mr Speaker, our children are our most basic real issue. It's time we focused afresh upon their needs.